talking about humanness and talking about identity, I think one of the really big things that I really enjoy hearing your perspective on is the idea of modern masculinity.
Sure, yeah.
And so, you know, we have this crisis of people being fatherless or not having like really good examples of great black male role models. Mm-hmm. And you have a new generation of men growing up today who are almost looking up to influencers that they see on social media, like people like Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson, where they're like, it's almost like people say toxic masculinity.
Sure.
But then you can't call all masculinity toxic. Like there has to be some level of masculinity.
Sure.
So I know that you did the Frolic.
It's in production. It's in pre-production.
Okay, we don't have to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. No, we can.
Well, if you want to.
Sure.
But like, just I'm curious on your perspective of where we've been in the past with masculinity and where you think that we're going with it.
Sure. I think the boys are broken or have been broken. And I think the old ways of that 1950s energy of like, women, get out of here. Hey, like, smoking a cigar in the boardroom of like, hey, toots, all that. Like that energy, was the thing.
That was crazy.
Being a straight white dude in the 50s was probably lit.
It was probably peak.
That's why a lot of these motherfuckers is trying to go back. That's when America was great for these motherfuckers, bro. Great. Right? And even in the black community, you know what I mean? Like, to some degree, but where it's been is very archaic. I think that a lot of things are perpetuated, and hey, women I think are implicated in that too. Men are implicated in that too. There's just a lot of things we've accepted, but I think in the past decade we've started to see the walls of Rome are crumbling with the Me Too movement and all this stuff. People have been saying this for a long time, but like they haven't been the platform or given the opportunity to express their displeasure, their hurt in all of this. And we are now really seeing in the front and center of how letting certain men get away with certain behaviors was accepted back then.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein, prime example.
Right, so even before that, think about all the industries that aren't Hollywood. We just think about the media, but what about women in warehouses or like all these other industries that don't get the press that they need? So where I think it's been was broken. And I think where it is now or where it should go or what the future is, I think there is a movement, of identifying that. I'm glad there's words being put to it. And it's like there was a time in my life where I've been burned or I've been hurt by that toxicness. And I've every major moment success in my life I can attest to a woman, and that's just my story. So I've grown up with a profound sense of respect and appreciation for feminine energy. I went on the deep end though, where I was like, "Yo, fuck these niggas, man!" Because I was hurt by it, and I had seen beautiful, amazing women in my life be hurt by that archaic masculine energy. I think there's both. I think you need both. I think yin and yang is a thing, right? You need these two pulling forces, Obviously, there's an argument to be made of like, why do we have to genderfy everything? Sure. But I do think that protective energy, that, that firm grasp of the external forces that are at play in the world. And, you have to, I think masculine energy runs that kind of department. Yeah. But I look at it this way. I think between the men and the women in the traditional sense, like men worry about external and women worry about internal. And I think there needs to be an understanding that both are very important. Right. Because I'm sorry, if women ran the world, there probably wouldn't be that many wars. Probably not that many. Right? There probably wouldn't be all these initiatives.
There's probably more cooperation than competition.
Probably, because I couldn't imagine a woman ordering a drone strike on a community of children because they probably have a kid, right? So
let me actually add a point to that. Like I was at this game night with my sister and some other people, and they played this game. I don't remember what game it was, but they literally played it, and I was like, "How do you win?" Because I was thinking competition, and the girls were like, "You don't."
Right.
The whole point of the game is just to talk and to communicate.
That's
and
cool.
To share and exchange. There's no one's keeping points. And that blew my mind, because then I approached it with a different perspective. I was like, instead of competition of trying to win, It's more of building empathy and building connection. Like
Right.
that's the point of the game.
Sure.
And so as soon as someone explained that to me, then I had a shift in perspective.
Great.
And I was like, oh, it's not me against you. It's me and you
Sure.
against this.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, and to kind of cap off what I'm saying is, like, there's no right or wrong answer, right? It's a very complicated thing. Everybody has a different journey. Everybody has a different path. I look at what am I contributing as an artist to the zeitgeist of men and masculinity, you know, with a project like Grown showing just kind of the implications of when it is not so good. And with my future project, The Grand Frolic, which is essentially getting a bunch of black men together and we're going to frolic in the meadow, because I highly doubt you've ever seen it. I think it was a viral trend a couple of years ago, which I thought was amazing. When I saw that, I was like, this is something I like. Because I think there's a softness and there's
that black boy joy,
but primarily a softness that I feel like men, and particularly black men, I can only really speak from that lens, is like that they don't think they have access to, because the standard or the perspectives that are out there are going to look at you as less than. And if I'm connecting with you one-to-one as a human, and I'm hearing you, and I'm you know, offering my care and my attention and my empathy, and that's looked at as a weakness, really? That's a weakness? I look at it as a strength. Can you imagine if everybody had that perspective? What different world we would live in? And I'm being very idealistic. There's obviously a lot of implications to that. But like, dude, I look at it as a strength. So my art offering as an artist and a storyteller is in almost any work showing that opportunity to access that softness. When you got to be firm, you got to be firm. But I tell you this right now, the realest nigga I ever knew was my mom.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen her exert strength and protectiveness just like a man. That's what I'm saying. It's not really gender. I don't think it's gender oriented. I think it's human oriented. We pigeonhole ourselves into this binary choice. You know, the confines are so firm.
Yeah.
Like, I think to put a name to it, masculine and feminine energy helps kind of identify it, but it's human energy, son. And I think you need both, bruh.
So, and just to tie all this together back to story, I think that we talked about how story lasts the test of time, and that's how information gets passed on to the next generation. Yeah. Within story is also symbols as well.
Sure.
So the symbol that I can think of, because we're not just talking about man versus woman, we're talking about masculine versus feminine. And I think of the yin yang symbol.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like black and white, but then within each one of them, there's a small speck.
What a
of
succinct
the other.
way to put that.
Exactly.
And I think that's what it is. Like, and you see how even in the shape of the yin yang symbol, it flows
right
with each other. And I think that's a perfect example. Yeah. Like, there are times where you have to show up in one way, but that does not mean that's the only way you should show up. Yeah. Be three-dimensional. Be a fully formed man, right? Like have access to that. Like, if you see your little boy, Jason Wilson, I believe that's his name, big black man that does martial arts, big beard, like has like young boys like crying, and he stops his martial arts training and sits with them and lets them cry. And that's what I'm talking about. Homeboy is in a gym doing martial arts, but says, hold the phone. This little boy needs to cry, and that's okay.
Wow.
That is the perfect example of that. I love that. Me personally, I think it's so dope that, like, you know, you have this tough guy persona. There's a lot of beautiful men in my life that are tough guys on the surface, right? Tatted up, locks, all that, right? But then it'll be like, yo, you trying to talk, bro? I love that. And isn't that so cool? It's so multidimensional, you know? And just don't, why limit yourself to some stupid idea? Because at the end of the fucking day, it's a bunch of, I'm just gonna speak plainly here. It's a bunch of niggas performing for other niggas, bro. Literally, that's it. Performing and upholding this idea of masculinity and manhood. I don't know who the hell wrote it. We've been putting ourselves in compromising situations because of it. It's a lot of niggas out here with allegations and all this shit coming out. Because guess what? That nigga was gay, but he held it off for a bunch of years because the world said he couldn't. All of a sudden, now niggas is getting it. It just leads to so much inauthenticity because of this idea that we're holding up so hard. Men are holding it up so hard, living and dying because I felt emasculated. And now you gotta kill a nigga because of that? If you kill a nigga is to hold up this ethereal idea of what it is to be a man, you're harming yourself, you're killing yourself, you're drinking, you're doing all these self-defeating things to hold up an idea. Where is the book? Where is the tablet that inscribes what the fuck a man is? Where is that? I don't know. We're performing for each other. And everybody got a different idea of what it is to be a man. So who's winning here? Who is winning is my question. I think there needs to be a global renegotiation of what it is to be a man. Personally, I think there needs to be a global renegotiation of what it means to be a human. Because again, I think when you put it in black and white, man and woman, it's so limiting. It's very limiting. So that's my 2 cents. I'll step off my soapbox.
Very well said. Very well said. Success should be you comparing yourself to who you were yesterday. You can't compare yourself to Oprah, or you can't compare yourself to Issa Rae or all these other people, because each one of them have their own unique journeys, their own unique experiences, their own unique upbringings.
Let me teach you this. Success is not how far you got. Because, see, you're going to be disappointed all the time. Because somebody always further than you. So now you'll forever be disappointed. Success ain't how far you got. Success is how far you got from where you started.
Their path from start to finish is different from where you started and where you finished.
That's your success. That's yours.